Okay, it says this session is being recorded now, so hopefully everything's going to work all right. This is a learning curve for me as well. We've all been on GoToWebinar webinars before, so being an attendee is nothing new to most of us. This is, like I said, this is only my second time ever being a host on one, so I've got a lot to learn about this. I did go through some of the practice things this weekend and feel like I've got this down pretty much. So hopefully this will work good for us. Anyway, I want to thank you all for coming out to the call tonight. This is my weekly Here to Help You webinar. This is actually our first one for 2015. And, I've got a fairly decent little presentation lined up for you. And I've got a slew of questions. So we've got quite a few questions to go through tonight. And, of course, you guys can ask questions later on or even during the webinar. But for the new people that's on here that maybe hasn't been to one of these before, or for the benefit of those that watch it through the recordings, this is my weekly Here to Help You webinar. There's nothing here for sale tonight. I generally do these on Monday evenings at 8 o'clock, provided, nothing happens and I have to miss, but most of the time I usually get to make these. I do these every week just for you guys to come on here and do some sort of a presentation or a demo or play a video, and hopefully in this next year we're going to have guests. And like I said, it's all pure training and question answer. There's, like I said, occasionally I might mention a product that's coming out, going to be launched this week or something like that, but I'm not here to promote any products. This is, like I said, mostly just for you guys, just so you get a chance once a week to at least come on here and ask questions if you have any, or you can send me questions during the week and I'll answer them here on the spot if I can. So with that said, if everybody can hear me good, let's make sure everybody can hear me good before I switch off to the desktop. Great, Roy says he can hear me. All right. Okay, so we're going to do the magical switch to desktop. Hope that it works right. This is what we had problems with before. Couldn't hardly do it, so hopefully we're not going to have that problem anymore. All right, so what I want to talk to you guys about tonight, this is our first presentation of the year. Generally, when we start off a new year, everybody makes resolutions and sets goals for the year. And this year, I want you guys to do something a little bit different along that same lines, but it's going to be a little bit different. This year, we're going to kick off the year by creating your own product. I'm going to show you exactly how you can do that, and it's really easy. Everybody can do this. All right, typically, like I said, at the beginning of the year, everybody sets off New Year's resolutions and goals. This year, we're going to do something just a little bit different, but still along its same lines. We're going to create a product using our goals and resolutions. Now, don't worry, this is easy to do, and everybody can do this. And I'm going to show you exactly step by step how you can do this. I'm going to start off by defining just one goal, this one simple goal that you know that you can achieve in the next 14 to 30 days. Now, this should be something challenging but yet still achievable, something like setting up a blog, completing the rework of a PLR product, or even just something as simple as getting 100 new subscribers to your list in this next month. Now, before you start working on your goal, I want you to list out the steps and processes you need to complete this goal. If you don't know what these exact steps are, just generalize them. Everybody pretty much has an idea of what steps you may need to go through for one achievable goal. Just list out the various steps that it might take. Might be 5 steps, might be 10 steps, or whatever. But just kind of generalize it in each process of what you need to do. Let's take the example of setting up a blog. You're going to have a domain name. You're going to have web hosting, and you're going to install WordPress, and you're going to install some sort of a theme. You're going to install some plugins in the blog. So there we've got 5 simple steps that you need to do to set up a blog. Just something along that general line. Just list out the generalized process steps of what it would take to achieve this goal. Now next, I want you to create 2 Excel files. Now, if you don't have Excel, you can use OpenOffice or LibreOffice and create one of their versions of Excel. But I think pretty much everybody has Microsoft Office. So the first one I want you to create is a time tracker. Just label it, time tracker. And then the second one I want you to create is a daily done tracker. Now with the first one, the time tracker, for one solid week, I want you to keep track of everything you do during your waking hours. Associate approximate time values for each of these entries. Now, it's not going to be feasible for everybody to be walking around with a laptop or be sitting at your desktop and make entries into an Excel file. So it may be easier for this part of the process if you actually have, a little notepad or pen and paper with you, just so you can jot down some, some approximate times of what you do during the day. Now, when I talk about everything that you do during your waking hours, try to be, as precise as you can about it, but don't, you don't have to be real detailed about every single thing you did. Like you might put down that you woke up at 7:15 in the morning and you spent from 7:15 to 8 o'clock drinking your first cup of coffee and checking email. And then from there, at 8 o'clock, you took the kids to school, or you had to go to work, or whatever you did just during chunks of your day. But during the waking hours, just try to keep, some sort of a generalized list of what you did and some sort of approximate time values that it took you, that you spent on each one of those things you did during that day. And do this for one solid week. Just keep up with everything you did for one solid week. And at the end of this week, go back through these entries and look for productive periods and time wasted periods. You'll notice as you go back through these entries, you'll see times where you were actually working on something, and then you'll see times where you were actually just goofing off and not doing anything productive. Now, it's going to be kind of hard to define what are productive periods and what are time wasted periods. It depends on what you actually do during the day and what your schedule is actually like. Like, for instance, if you're working a day job, you're actually, devoting so many hours of your day to that day job. So, those are productive hours that you're working on your day job. They're not productive hours in helping you in your online business in any fashion. Unless, of course, during that day job, you do get some breaks where you can use the computer and do some things on your own, take a break and do some things. You might find little periods during the day like that you could use towards doing productive things. Now, at the end of this week, like I said, I want you to look at all these entries and look for common periods of time spent doing the same task. After you've got 5 to 7 days worth of this monitor of your time logged down, you can go back through it and you can look through every single day and see common periods of time when you're doing the same exact task, and pretty much about the same amount of time you're spending on the same task as well. But unless you actually list these things out, you really don't notice it during the week, because it's just second nature to you to do these things. You don't really pay much attention to how much time you're actually spending doing these things. Now next, we're going to talk about the daily done tracker. Each day as you monitor your time spent, add to the second Excel file. And again, like I said, you may need to use pen and paper here to make this easier to keep up with and just do these entries into the Excel file at the end of the day. But keep a second track of just anything that you did that helps you achieve one of the steps or the processes in the goal that you had. So in other words, every day you want to have something, you want to try to do some part of the process of the goal that you set, whether it be something small, if you just worked on it for 5 or 10 minutes, or if you got to work on it for 30 minutes or an hour. Just make some sort of a note that you did that part of the process that day, and in your second Excel sheet, make a list of that, and again, approximately how much time you spent doing it. Okay, so now that you know where your time is spent daily and your most productive points during the day, assign each day at the end of the week, and you're probably not finished with your goal. You could be, depending on what the goal is you set to achieve for yourself, but you're probably not finished. But at the end of this week, and you see where your productive time points are, assign some part of the process of completing your goal to each one of the following days thereafter. Now, each day, record in your daily done tracker what you accomplished. Even if it was just a small part of it, even if you didn't get to complete a whole step, just record how much of whatever you got done towards working on that step or process in reaching that goal. And don't worry if you get stuck or need to research a step or process. As long as it truly is research that you're doing to try to figure out how to complete a step or a process, it's actually counted as productive time, because you're learning while you're working on that goal. Now, when I say research, what I mean is you know you need to install a theme, but you're not sure exactly which theme you wanted to install, so you go looking over on ThemeForest to try to find one that you feel like is good for your blog. Or you need to install a plugin, but you're not exactly sure which one, so you go to WordPress.org and do a search for plugins to find out which one is the best one to use. Those are good examples of research time. You're actually spending time trying to research something that's going to help you instead of looking for, the next best WordPress plugin that's on sale on the WSO forum. That's not productive time. Look and see what's on sale somewhere. Once you know exactly what you want, and you know how to install it, or you know where to get it, well then at that point it's just a matter of obtaining it if you have to download it or buy it or whatever. And then if you have to learn how to install it, well then that's considered productive time there too, learning how to install it and use it. Now at the end of this 14 to 30 day period, once you've done these things, you will have done two things. One, you're going to achieve the goal that you set for yourself, and two, you're going to have documented the whole process. When you get done at the end of this 14 to 30 day period, you'll have a list of complete documentation on everything you've done during that first week where you were figuring out the time periods when you needed to be working on something. And then from that point on, you'll see where you worked on it and what you got done and how you achieved it. Now, after achieving this goal, you want to take this daily done sheet and go back through it and just edit it, filling in some details about what you did. In other words, as you're doing the daily done sheet, you may put down that you installed an autoresponder plugin, and that may be the only entry you make during that day for that part. You just installed the plugin. All right, after the process is completed, you've got the blog set up. You want to go back in and explain what you did with that autoresponder plugin. You may put down that you installed it, you went into the settings, and you set up the SMTP settings, you set up a list in it, and the process you went through for setting up your first list in it. In other words, just kind of fill it in with a little bit more detail. You don't have to go into real extensive detail, just a little bit more detail about what you did. And it may even help if you, explain a little bit about how you did it, and just in case, you need to go back through it again, you'll know that you installed the plugin in a certain way, or you had to use certain settings or something to get it to work. Just anything that would document it, that make it the second time you go through it be a lot speedier to set up for yourself. Okay, now that once you've filled in that little bit of detail, now you have everything you need to create your own little short report product that explains how to do what you did during the past 14 to 30 days. You've got the whole complete works now for an info product of your own that shows somebody from start to scratch how to figure out the daily time it takes to do something, even if they're a beginner, and the process that they would go through, and then the steps that they would go through to complete the task. This is what we call documenting the process. Now you can go back through it after you've got it filled out and dress it up with some screenshots if you want, and then optionally create a mind map. You could take the original process list that you had and use something like FreeMind and create a mind map that shows out the documented steps. You can go back in with your done sheet, and each one of the steps, put in the little sub-steps that you did to complete each part of it, and then that adds an extra value to the product that you just created. So now at this point, like I said, you figured out during the first week when your most productive parts of the day are, and then the second week you continued on using those productive parts of the day and completed setting up the process of whatever the goal was you set. Now all you have to do is just package it up, zip it up into one zip file, and then write a simple sales page. Now this is where most people get stuck when they want to write a simple sales page. All you have to do to write a really simple sales page is going to convert, that will sell, is just use your own language, like you're telling a friend or a relative or something about what you did last month and how you did it. That's all you have to do. Just tell them that when you started out the month you knew you wanted to do this, but you weren't exactly sure how, so you researched a little bit and you found these things that helped you to do it. And then you completed it, and you list out the points of where you made progress. It's really just as simple as that, just a simple conversation like he's talking to somebody on the phone, telling them about what you did the previous week or month. And then all you have to do is just add a catchy headline to the top of it. Example I give here is how I built an Amazon monetized niche blog from scratch in 7 days. When you actually get to looking at the time that you spent on this, you could have done the whole thing in probably 7 to 10 days at the most. And that's, starting from scratch, knowing what periods of the day you worked on it and the steps you took. And especially the second time you go through it, you can even do it even faster. So, you wouldn't be telling anybody, a mistruth here by saying, the amount of days. You could just total up the amount of time it took you and just assign so much of that process to each day, and you could divide this up into 7 to 10 days easily. Now, this is the type of thing that newbies, that people are just now getting started online, want to know. They don't want to sit through hours and hours of videos of somebody showing them in exact boring detail of every little process, when they can just go through a simple 5 to 7 page report with a few screenshots. It shows them exactly what to click on, exactly what to enter, and exactly what they should be seeing once they do that. That's the exact type of short report that people like to see. Now all you have to do at this point is just add a PayPal button to it, and then you can list this as your very first WSO. This is the exact same simple process that I went through to list my very first WSO when I launched my first one that told how I took a short report and turned it into an ebook that I listed over on ClickBank. I just took the whole process that I went through in creating an ebook and documented everything, and then just told the whole process of what I went through to create the product and listed over on ClickBank. This is the exact same thing that you're doing here. It's just documenting the process and then telling somebody exactly what you did to achieve the end goal. And people will eat this up. Now, you may not make hundreds and thousands of sales, but each one you post, you'll get a few more buyers every time you post one. You may start out with just 5 or 10 buyers of the product. Then the next one you post, you'll get 10 to 15, or maybe if somebody really picks up on it and really likes what you're doing, if you have it set up with an affiliate network like Warriors Plus or JVZoo, you may get somebody picks it up and really, sends it out to their list and gets you a lot of sales. But each one you post, you'll get a few more. You'll get a few more people following you and watching what you're doing. So each one that you post, you'll get a few more sales each time, and at the end of the 6 months or a year, you'll have a huge following of people that will be anxious for you to put out another report showing how you did something. And this doesn't involve any kind of video or audio. A lot of people are scared of doing video and audio. This doesn't involve any of that. This is just a quick, short report showing the documented process for achieving one small goal every month. Now, you can make these goals get bigger each month if you want. As you get more experienced in doing things, you can maybe document, another goal that's a little harder to achieve. It may even be a goal that, takes more than a month to complete, which is just fine as well, because there's people that want to learn that area of setting up an online business as well. There's lots of people that just got started that want to know how to do the simple things. But then you have people that have moved on from being able to do the simple things that want to know something that's just a little bit more complicated. And again, a lot of people don't want to sit through hours and hours of video. They just want something that's quick and to the point, that shows them exactly what they need to do, what they need to click on, and the settings they should be using. Now, all you have to do is just rinse and repeat this process once a month. Just every month, at the beginning of the month, pick some sort of goal you want to achieve at the end of the month. Now, you don't have to repeat the monitoring of your time every month. You need to do that the first time. You only have to do that once, so you can figure out the most productive parts of your day. But then each month after that, just pick one goal that you want to try to achieve, and just document the process for achieving that goal every month. And at the end of the month, like I said, just go back in, fill in all the details, write up a simple sales page, just like you're talking to a friend, telling them about what you did the previous month, list it as a WSO, and get yourself another 10 to 50 buyers on your list every single month. This is what my friend Kevin Riley calls launching money pumping oil wells. All it is just documenting a process that you went through, and then just selling this quick, short report to people, showing them exactly what you did to achieve that goal. And every month you'll have new people that will come on that wanted to learn how to do that goal, and they will start to follow you and look for your next one to come out the next month. Okay, are you guys back out at the regular screen now? What are you seeing on your screen? Like I said, I'm still trying to figure out this share my screen thing. I think I've stopped the sharing of the screen. Okay, Sharon Stop Thomas says, great. Okay, I promise next week I'll be more more experienced at this. Like I said, this is just my second time ever doing this. I'm having to learn this as I go. The question, let's go back through some of the questions here before we move on. Pen and paper, what are those? Roy says. Thomas says, War Reform has changed their policies. Can these simple WSOs still be done? Yeah, they want things like that, Thomas. They don't want the fake, fictitious things that people were posting here in the last few months. They're kind of, in a way, trying to clamp down on some of the junk in there like ClickBank did a couple years ago. If you remember, a couple years ago, ClickBank got infested with all those $37 push button programs. And ClickBank clamped down on that, started making everybody verify income claims, and just anything that was ridiculously, couldn't be, just impossible to believe. They started, clamping down on it and not allowing that stuff to be in their marketplace. The War Reform is trying to achieve that same sort of thing, and it's going to be hard for them to do that. It really is, because it's hard, first off, when somebody makes an income claim and they ask for verification of to verify that it's really true. ClickBank, for the most part, has just stopped allowing income claims. And I have a feeling that's what it's going to go to with the War Reform as well. They're just going to stop allowing income claims because there's just hardly any way to really verify, an income claim. But yeah, they still want products like this, little short reports. In fact, you see several of them on there now where people just, documenting one simple thing that they did and how they achieved it. Now, you'll still see a lot of them listed over now that has, some of the crazy income claims. Like I said, they're slowly weeding through those. But that's the biggest thing they're trying to do now, is just get it to where the things that are posted over now are actual, real quality, thought out products, instead of somebody just trying to create something that's fictitious just to, make a lot of sales on it. Thomas says, what are the price points for the, how do you price these mini reports? These are the type of reports you could probably sell for anywhere from $5 to $7, somewhere in that price range. Now, you could take it a step further if you wanted to, and, if you're just starting out, I don't recommend you do this, but if you do have a little bit of experience selling products, you could actually go take it a step further and maybe offer resale rights to the report and get, another extra, $10 or so out of it, and, include a copy of the sales page with it and the download page with it. But generally, these are the type of reports that will sell for anywhere from $4 to $7 really easily over there on the War Reform. Patricia saying, do you think Barry and Andy's product on doing free WSOs contributed to the War Reform decision? I think a lot of people's, they weren't the first one to do that, to post a WSO about how you can use free WSOs to build a list and to make back-end sales. So, there were several people doing it. Now, Barry and Andy's did get JB Zoo product of the day, so it got a lot of attention, and there's probably a few others that, that got that same amount of attention, especially, Mike Lance from Warrior Plus has his favorites that he picks. And, yeah, there's probably several people that contributed to that. And to be honest with you, I used the Warrior Reform for posting free WSOs for list building. It was one of the best list builders I had. I've not posted one over in the classified section now. That's where we have to post them. But I'm going to be posting one probably in the next day or so. When we post one over and testing that out, see if it makes any difference or not. But I would say there's been several people that contributed in the cause in that decision. And one thing they said about the free WSOs was that they wanted to make it to where everything that's over in the WSO section is something that's for sale, instead of having to weed through a whole bunch of free WSOs trying to find something that, that's a quality product that's for sale, because a lot of the free WSOs over there were just junk products, just trying to get people to sign up to a list. And then they found several people that were building those lists and selling those lists, because like I said, it was a really, really good way to build a list fast, was to list a WSO over for free, get a bunch of people to subscribe to your list. Then if you were an unethical marketer, you could take that list you just built and sell it off to spammers somewhere. So they found several people doing that, and that was one thing that weighed in on that decision to stop the free WSOs. Of course, it being over in the classified section, that can still happen. People can still, manipulate that and do that if that's what they're wanting to do. But the biggest thing they said is they wanted to have everything that's in the WSO section be something that's actually for sale, and they're wanting to try to, clean up that marketplace a lot like what ClickBank did, make it where, it's quality products and not, just outrageous income claims, something, there's no way to prove it could actually do what it says it'll do. Roy says, so it's one problem, one solution per product. Exactly, Roy. Yeah, you want to pick one simple thing that you're going to work on, and don't complicate it by going off into other areas, explaining other areas of the problem. You just want to solve one simple problem with every one of these little short reports. Now, I've heard people call these hot sheets as well. That's another term people use for a little short report that's, 3 to 7 pages or so. They call them hot sheets. And, whichever one you decide to call it, a short report or a hot sheet, like I said, these are exact to the point, detailed records of how to do a process. And that's, a lot of people are looking for, something exactly to the point of how to do something instead of going through hours of audios and videos trying to figure out the same exact thing when they could just go through a step-by-step process. And especially if it has a few screenshots in it, so they can see that they're the screen that they should be seeing during that process. Using this simple method, guys, anybody can create some sort of a short report like this every single month. Because if you think about it, every month you're working on some sort of task in your business. If you just take the time, just to list out the steps before you start working on that task, and this each day as you work on it, just make a note of what you did to complete that task. You can go back after you've completed wherever the goal was you set, the task that you set, and just fill in a little bit of details, and like I said, you've got a quick little report that you can put up there for sale. Now, after you gain some momentum with them, after you've done several of these, it may be that you don't even have to list them as WSOs anymore. It doesn't take a very big list that, people that are responsive and anxious to see your next report coming out for you to make, a good living doing short reports. It always helps to bring in fresh blood because, as your list gets older and older, I don't care how responsive it is, it starts dying off at some point. So you want to keep, fresh people coming in. But it may get to the point where, you only have to list one every 3 months over there on the Warrior Forum. You guys are still hearing me, right? Okay, great. All right, well, like I said, I have got a ton of questions, and Patricia, some of them are yours. So let's go through those next. Okay, Patricia says, I got one big one for you, too. Do you want to ask it now, or do you want to wait for me to go through the others? Okay, if you want to ask it now, go ahead and ask it now then. Because like I said, I've got a lot of questions that came in this past week. What is this Ricky thing? Is it showing my name as Ricky? Okay, I guess it picked up that from my account on GoToWebinar. It's supposed to say Rick, but I guess not. But anyway, that's my legal name, Ricky. It's not Richard. It's not Rich. It's Ricky. Mr. Ricky. Yeah, that's my legal name. I guess GoToWebinar, there's some setting I didn't set somewhere in there, I guess, to change it to the name I go by. That's a good one, Patricia. Okay, let's do our questions in that we got here. Okay, like I said, I got several questions here. The first 3 are actually from Patricia herself. Patricia's asking, you can use ClickBank for things that aren't unique, right? Such as unlimited PLR I'm selling, not as PLR or as personal use. You can do this on JVZoo too, and market is not visible in the marketplace. ClickBank has no restrictions on the product being original. You can list straight out PLR. You don't even have to rename it. You can list the same exact product that everybody else is listing if that's what you want to do. I don't recommend that you do that, especially if it's a brand new listing and you're having to pay the listing fees for a product over on ClickBank. Now, if you already have a vendor's account that's for another product and you're using this as one of the additional products that you're allowed to sell in that vendor's account, that might be all right there to do it that way. But even at doing that, I don't recommend anybody just post PLR straight as they get it without doing at least, the basic 5 things, making the changes to it. But yeah, they have no restrictions. I mean, you could take any product you have resale rights to, whether it be, PLR or resale rights or master resale rights, white label, something you've gotten white label, and ClickBank has no restrictions for allowing you to resell it just like everybody else. There's not a whole lot of duplication of products like that over in ClickBank, because most of the products you see listed in the marketplace are going to be fairly unique products, although they may have started out as PLR, but they're for the most part going to be unique products. But when it comes to the additional products, like I said, with each vendor account, you're allowed to have up to 500 products. You could list anything you want in there. It's not going to show up in the marketplace anyway, but you can list anything you want, or if you decided you didn't want to, rework it as something unique. And of course, in doing something like that, you might do that just for, to have it in the ClickBank marketplace, so you should be able to sell it through them, through your list or whatever, or set up your own cart or store over on your website to list it as something that you're selling. JVZoo, when you list a product over on JVZoo, every product gets put into the marketplace unless you tell them, you specifically check not to show it in the marketplace. Again, you might want to do that for something that you don't necessarily want it to be in the marketplace. You just want it to be available for them to process the sales, so that you can notify your list about a new product that you have. But with JVZoo, every product does get put into their marketplace for people to be able to find it, but you can mark it as not being available. Thing is saying, if it doesn't show up in the marketplace, how do buyers know it's there? Well, that's the big thing about ClickBank right now. The first product that you list, when you set up a vendor account, that main product that you list is the only one that shows up in the marketplace. Now, that plug-in that I think you got it too, Dana, but the plug-in that I bought last week, and I haven't got to fully set it up yet, it will allow you to create hop links and affiliate pages for your additional products, but you still have to host that page that it creates over on your own website somewhere. It's not going to show up in the ClickBank marketplace. So in that situation, what you would need to do is the main product that you have listed over on ClickBank, on the affiliate promo page that you create for it, you would want to have a link that says, click here to see our other products. And that's where you could link to the page that's created by that plugin that lists all the other products that you're selling over there as well, so people could get hop links and affiliate promo tools for the other products that you have. That's the sort of workaround for not having all of your products listed over in the marketplace. Thing says, okay, so it's best if they're of interest to the same audience. Yeah, if you're going to link from one affiliate promo page to a list of your other products for sale, it would be best if they are sort of semi-related to the same niche or topic. Again, you could treat a ClickBank vendor account a lot like how I treat my websites now. I have 3 main websites that I sell from. I have my Internet Success Zone, which is all IM related stuff. Everything on there is something related to internet marketing in some way. It's either products that I've created or products that I've bought rights to that I can resell. Then I have my Guides to Greater Living, which is a catch-all for every other niche that I'm in. And then I have my Success with Rick, which is all coaching-related programs that I've created, products and programs. So you could sort of treat your ClickBank accounts like that. You could have like 2 or 3 different vendor accounts, each one, in a specific area, subset area, like I've done with my domains, and that's my goal and what I'm doing there now. I have one general vendor account that has just about every IM related thing under it, that I want to sell under it. But then I have another one that's in the personal finance that is going to be all self-help and personal finance related type stuff in that account. And then I started another one over there, and this is the one I'm still in the process of setting up, is for the Android apps. It's going to be all mobile related things. What's the scoop on ad swaps these days? Worth it? I can't find it at the moment, but I had an offer of a lifetime membership in something or other ad swaps. Ad swaps are definitely still worth doing. I still participate in a few ad swaps. not as often as I used to, but I still do them every now and then. Generally with the list that I do them with are lists that I build from giveaway events and the freebie type offer things. I don't do it with my buyers list. Hardly ever do I do an ad swap with my buyers list. It's very rare I'll do one with it. But with some of these general freebie giveaway events, where I build a list from those, I'll do ad swaps with those. And my goal when I do an ad swap is to have an OTO offer for when they opt into the list, so that when they purchase that, I move them off of that free list and over into my buyers list. I have that set up in the automation to move them from the freebie list over to the buyers list. And once they get over to the buyers list, like I said, I rarely do an ad swap with those. And probably the lifetime membership program you're talking about is there's a program that just started a couple months ago. I think Andy Brocklehurst even mentioned it. It's called Lead Swaps. And there is a lifetime option for joining it. And basically what it is you submit, it's kind of like Safe Swaps in a way. I think everybody's familiar with Safe Swaps, how it works. You join Safe Swaps, you enter your autoresponder details for one list and then a swap file, and then people will trade with you doing ad swaps through Safe Swaps. Now, Safe Swaps charges monthly to be able to do that. You can have a free account there, but hardly anybody will ad swap with you if you have a free account with Safe Swaps. Lead Swaps is almost the exact same thing, except they've taken it a step further, and they give you an actual URL code that you can list on your download pages and thank you pages and places like that, to where if somebody clicks that link, it actually gives you a credit that your link will show up on somebody else's bonus or thank you page. So depending on how much traffic you send to them bonus links, the way I use it is on download pages and thank you pages, I'll say, here are some additional bonuses, and you can't list what the bonuses are because you don't know what they're clicking on, you don't know what they're getting. But you just say, here are some additional bonuses, and you just put like 2 of those links on a download page or a thank you page. And like I said, every time somebody clicks one of them, it gives you a credit to where somebody else is going to do the same exact thing for you. Now, I bought the lifetime membership into that. I don't get a whole lot of traffic out of it. I don't think people use it as much as they do over on ad swaps or Safe Swaps, I mean. But it does, bring in a few subscribers every month. It's not a whole lot. I hear that they have a monthly option too. I definitely wouldn't do the monthly option. If you're going to do the Lead Swaps thing, I would do the lifetime thing. I think it's like $37 or $47 or something like that for lifetime. I definitely wouldn't do the $10 a month. It wouldn't be worth it. But it does still work. Ad swaps are still a very valid way to build your list. Just use specific lists for it. Don't burn out your good list doing ad swaps. You'll burn out your good list doing ad swaps really quick. Teresa says, I didn't like Lead Swaps. So you didn't like it. Like I said, I don't get much traffic out of it either. I might get 3 to 5 new subscribers a month out of it. So I figure after a year it might pay for itself. I don't know. I definitely wouldn't pay for the monthly option. I know I wouldn't do that. I'm glad I bought the lifetime part. Well, it's not a whole lot of work, really. I mean, if you just use the bonus download links on your thank you pages, it's not a lot of work for doing that. You put your main bonuses up on top. People that you've set up ad swaps and bonus swaps with, the good list hours you're doing those with, you want to put those up on top. You want to put those others for lead swaps down below those, because like I said, you can't mark what they are because you don't know what people are getting. Because every time you click that link, it goes to something different. You have no idea what it's going to go to. There's way more studying you had to deal with at the time. Okay, the next question is, what is retargeting, as in Facebook retargeting? Retargeting is where you actually have a pixel delivered to somebody's browser when they visit a web page, and it's kind of like a cookie in a way, but it's a pixel that the advertising companies give you. And once that pixel or that cookie, some people want to call it a cookie, is on your computer. If you go to Facebook, and you can set up ads that are looking for those tracking pixels, and if it sees it, it will show them the same ad for the page that they had visited once before. So it's kind of like a reminder of a page they had visited once before, because the old adage in sales is somebody has to see an advertisement 5 to 7 times before they act on it. So that's what the whole idea is behind retargeting, is to have that pixel on their computer in their browser, so that when they go to another website that will allow retargeting, it will look for that pixel and it will show them an ad that's custom tailored just to the website they had visited once before. Now there's other ways of doing retargeting with Facebook. Facebook's got some more advanced ways of doing it, but that's the basics of how it works. And it definitely does work. There's also other websites you can do retargeting with besides Facebook that will show your ads all over the internet. Now you pay just a little bit more to be able to do it that way, but you could have your banners and ads showing up over on MSN and Yahoo through some of those others, but it does cost a little bit more to do it through some of those other places. Perfect Audience is a good place to check into if you're interested in checking into that. I think they require it's either $250 or $500 deposit up front. Now you get to use that money towards the advertising, but they have a requirement of so much money up front before you can set up an account. But your ad will show up over on, like I said, some of the big sites, CBS and MSN and other places like that, once you have retargeting set up. But it definitely does work. I mean, it does remind people that they visited your website once before. And in some cases, now this is arguable if it's really helpful or not, but some people claim that by having a banner that shows up over on an authority site like, you know, CBS or MSN, that would actually lend credibility to your offer on the that you were, if they had visited once before, that if they see it on authority sites like that, it lends some credibility to it to, you know, maybe help convince them that, you know, they maybe really should look into whatever it was you was trying to sell them over on your website. But the basic Facebook retargeting is, like I said, the Facebook gives you a tracking pixel that you put in the code on your HTML page, and then that code, that tracking pixel, gets put on to somebody's computer as in the form of a cookie, and then when they go to Facebook, if it sees that tracking pixel, it's going to show an ad for that web page that they visited at some point in the past. Okay, and then the next question I got, and a lot of these are from Mike Stevens. He wants to know, do you use HTML sales pages primarily? The biggest chunk of my sales pages are HTML. I bought InstaBuilder when it came out there in the middle of December, and I have done a whole slew of sales pages with InstaBuilder. And I'm in the process of making everybody a video showing how to create sales pages and funnels with InstaBuilder too. I'm getting really, really familiar with it. I'm getting to where I like it really well now. But the biggest majority of my sales pages are HTML. I know you guys have heard me talk about this before. I just have problems doing sales pages in WordPress because they never want to turn out like they're supposed to turn out. InstaBuilder helps quite a bit with that, and it's turning out some really nice sales pages. So I'm getting more familiar with doing it. I never could do it with WP Profit Builder. I tried and tried and never could get it to turn out one just right like the way they did. The next question is, do you use WordPress for much at all? I use WordPress pretty much for a lot of things. It's about 50% of my websites are WordPress, probably more than 50%, I would say. It's just that when I want to do a sales page, a lot of times I'll do a static sales page and then have the WordPress as back behind the actual sales page. But yeah, WordPress is I use it quite a bit. It's the easiest way to get a website set up really quick. I actually have a backup buddy copy of a WordPress setup that I can deploy a WordPress site in less than 10 minutes. It's completely configured. All I got to do is just go in and add, you know, whatever graphics or content I want to it, but everything else is completely configured, and like I said, it takes me 11 minutes to load that site and everything's ready to go. The next question is, if you do use WordPress much, do you use anything to protect your sites from hacking and takeover? Yeah, you have to. one of the new features in the new version of WordPress when you install it is limit login attempts. And I recommend everybody enable that. It's only available in version 4.0 and above where you get that option to limit the login attempts. And what that does is it stops the brute force attacks from people that will sit there and just pound your login page over and over with dictionary terms trying to figure out what your admin login and password is. After 5 tries, it locks them out for 24 hours. I get reports every single day of that happening, of some IP address being locked out for 24 hours from when they were sitting there trying to use a dictionary attack trying to figure out what my admin login and password was. And until I installed it, I didn't really know that there was that much going on. I'd had some blogs that got hacked before, and it was through various other reasons why it happened. But I had no idea there was that many people just constantly pounding this, trying to get in, trying to figure out how to get in. And like I said, in version 4.0, you get that option now of turning it on. I didn't know until I turned it on that happens so much. But like I was saying, I have I set up a general blog, was about nothing, and just set up everything in all the plugins that I like to use, all the security I like to use, and then installed Backup Buddy on it and made a clone of it. So that now I have this pre-set up version of WordPress that I can just deploy real quick in 5 to 10 minutes. That has everything in it. And security is a big part of it. You have to have security for blogging now because there's people just constantly pounding trying to get in. And when you have plugins that you bought or that you've even went to WordPress and downloaded, you kind of want to pay attention to those and see if there's any kind of vulnerabilities that get released about them. Occasionally that happens. If you guys remember a few years back, Optimized Press, there was a big vulnerability that was discovered in it, and everybody that had Optimized Press was getting their sites hacked into. There was a WordPress plugin that came out a year or so ago, I believe it was, called WP Opt-ins that had a vulnerability in it, and everybody that had that plugin were getting their sites hacked into. So anytime you install something new, like even if it's something you just bought, even if it's somebody that you trust that they sold you a good plugin, not some just throw together people are going to try to hack into. For a couple of months anyway, you want to kind of watch their forums and see if anybody's having any problems, and see if anybody reports any kind of hacking attempts into it, because like I said, you never know when you install something new that somebody's going to find a loophole in it, some sort of vulnerability, and use that as a way to get into your website. And it's no fun, folks. It really isn't, especially when somebody gets into your WordPress site and messes up all the content that you've had in there. If it's a site that you've had up for a long time, they mess up everything in it. And if you haven't done any backups, you can't restore it, so you've lost everything. You got to start over for fresh. That happened to me at the very beginning because I didn't do backups. I didn't know that you could do backups really cheap. There's free plugins you can get from WordPress that will do backups of your blog for you. So I recommend everybody set up security on their blogs, and especially if nothing else, turn on that login limits attempt. It's definitely worth it to turn that on. I didn't realize it myself until I started turning it on when I started installing the WordPress 4.0 sites, how many people do try to get into your blog every day. Next one is, what do you use for website backups? Is it different for HTML versus WordPress sites? Yeah, it's definitely different for an HTML site versus a WordPress site. For WordPress, I use Backup Buddy. It's not a free program. It's a plugin that I bought. It cost $150 for the developer license. I can install it on every site that I own, plus sites that I sell. I can leave it installed. I don't have to uninstall it. HTML sites, there you're back to doing cloud-based backups. Your hosting provider can do cPanel backups, and those are okay, but you got to be careful with cPanel backups that you're not using up too much space, because your hosting provider only allows so much space for backups. Now, a lot of the main hosting providers will do backups themselves, but it's kind of hard to get them to do a restore for you. I mean, you can, and they don't like to do it, but it's hard to get them to. About the only way you can get them to is if it's actually been a hacking attempt that caused you to have to do a restore. If you just messed up your site and want to restore, it's really hard to get them to do it. So you're back to doing your own backups in that situation, having your own backups. Roy says, why do people hack in? Hacker sites just a challenge. A lot of it is, Roy, it's just college students wanting to challenge their friends on how many sites they can hack into. The biggest thing you'll notice when somebody hacks into your site, they put some sort of a graphic or a video up as the first page of your site. And I think, like you said, it's just an ego thing. They're just wanting to prove to their friends, they hacked into 50 sites today or whatever, whatever their bragging rights are. But I think that's the biggest thing. And then, of course, when they're going for the big guys' sites, like Office Depot and places like that, they're actually looking for credit card info. But for most of us, there's no info like that for them to get. It's just for them hacking into our sites. Like I said, it's mainly for bragging rights, if they were able to do it. Mary says you used WordPress security. Was it a plugin? Yeah, there's actually 3 different plugins I use for WordPress security, and depending on how it lets me do this replay, I'll put links to the plugins that I actually use. They're all free. I didn't pay for it. You don't pay for any of those plugins, but depending on how this replay works out, I'll see what I can do about listing those for you. I may send it out in an email if it won't let me put it on the page. iThemes security has a backup with it. Yep, iThemes is really good. They got good security built in. They got backups as well. Michael says it was WordFence at one time and is a free plugin from iTheme and has brute force enabled. Yeah, they used to call it WordFence. Yeah, and I think you can actually still get WordFence. I believe. I don't know if it's being updated anymore, but I think you can still get WordFence. Michael's asking, do they all work together? Yeah. The only problem I have found with some of the security plugins, and actually iThemes is one of them, is on membership sites where I use InstaMember, iThemes security plugins kind of mess with InstaBuilder or InstaMember on my membership sites. I've had to do a workaround for that. But for general WordPress sites, it works great, and I don't have any problems with it. It's just the membership sites where I use InstaMember, I have problems with WordFence and iThemes. Where it says I've used Login Lock. Okay, let's go on for questions here. Next said, do you do much blogging, or is it just not part of your product creation business model? I don't do as much blogging as I used to. I do have blogs that I set up that I'll pre-schedule a lot of posts to go in them, and then I have accounts set up with some, I guess what you would call new articles every month. They're not PLR, but they're articles that only 50 people can get. Only 50 people can get those articles, and I have those scheduled to automatically post to some of my blogs. One of my goals for this year is to actually start blogging again. I used to do a blog a long time ago and posted to it, 2 or 3 times a week. I tried to post to it 2 or 3 times a week. That's one of the things, my goals for this year is to do that again, is to have a blog where I post to it fairly often. I haven't done it in the last couple of years because I kind of lost interest in blogging, other than, for driving traffic and for setting up websites quick. It's about the most use I got out of blogging. But for this next year, since I am going to be going into podcasting, I wanted to have a place where people can find out more about me and my podcast shows and get the archives. So I'll be doing more blogging in 2015, that's for sure. Next says, what are your primary traffic sources, paid or free? I would say it's probably about 60% paid and 40% free. I don't do as much SEO as I used to. Video marketing still is a big chunk of the free traffic that I get. Do some article marketing, nowhere near as much as I used to. But paid traffic is probably where I get most of my traffic, and most of my paid traffic comes from Facebook. Is one place where I get a lot of traffic from. most people use Facebook for free, but I actually pay to use Facebook. And it's not because they charge me to use Facebook. It's because I spend money with them every month on advertising. Banner ads. I go to buy sell blog or buysell.ads.com every month, the first of the month, and look for packages that have just opened up. I can get at a good price. Sometimes, some months I don't find one, but a lot of times if you go there the very first few days of the month, like from the 1st through the 3rd, you can find some really good banner packages over there that you can get. And that's one of the best paid advertisements that I do is banner ads over on really high traffic blogs. But the biggest thing, like I said, is the Facebook and then the Warrior Forum. Like I said, I post WSOs over there mostly to get the traffic aware, to get new, fresh people into my mailing list. That's the biggest paid traffic that I do is those things. But the free traffic, like I said, most of what I do with the free traffic is some blogging, some posting out on other websites that will lead back to the blog. IBO Toolbox, I use IBO Toolbox fairly often. I don't use it every day like I should. If I used it every day, I'd get a lot of traffic from there, but I don't log into it every single day like I should. And then video marketing. I do quite a bit of video marketing. Okay, then I got one more question, and this is all the questions I got. And actually, this one just came in today. It says, did you get James Ranolph's Virgin Traffic Report? And if so, what did you think about it? Is it worth getting? For those of you that don't know, James Ranolph releases a lot of short reports, kind of like the short report I just showed you guys how to create. Not exactly like that, but they are short reports. And he just released one yesterday evening, about 6 o'clock yesterday, somewhere around there. And there's been quite a few people promoting it. And yes, I did get it, mainly because I knew somebody would be asking about it, and sure enough, here somebody's asking about it. But I didn't get review access to it. I actually had to pay for it. James won't hardly send out review copies. Maybe to people that are on his really close inner circle he will, but he won't send me one. And to be honest with you, I didn't like the report. And it's not necessarily so much because of James. It's just that I don't like products, and this is one of the things I don't like about the WSO section too. I don't like products that are about a free website. Somebody discovered a secret free website. I don't like it when somebody wants to sell you that information about a website that they found. To me, that's information that should be shared freely. That's the biggest beef I had with it. The second thing I didn't like about it is James didn't give any proof at all that the traffic that he's talking about getting from a website, he even actually got any traffic from. He gave absolutely no proof of it. So that's the second thing I didn't like about it. And in case you guys are wondering what the website is, I'll tell you the website. I'm not going to tell you his process of using the website, but it's Goodreads.com. It's a site owned by Amazon. He's found a way of manipulating Goodreads.com. So there you know what the secret website is now. Personally, I wouldn't recommend buying it. I think it's overpriced, $10. I think it's information that should have been shared for free. Roy says, a lot of WordPress plugins I use are old and outdated. Is there a list of must-haves that are up to date somewhere? There's not really a list of must-haves that fits everything. There is some general recommendations that, depending on what you're doing with your blog, they're good to have. Actually, over on my WordPressProfitStorm.com, I have a report over there that gives the 11 plugins that every affiliate marketer and online marketer should be using. That's just a general list. Don't go into everything that you'd want to do. It's just a good general list of plugins that will help in just about every area of affiliate and online marketing. It's WordPressProfitStorm.com. Let's see if I can type that in. How do I do that? You guys would have to ask me how to do that. Let's see, HTTP. Did it not type? Why is it not typing? Okay, here we go. Yeah, I'm learning this too. WordPress ProfitStorm.com. There you go. That should be the link. Like I said, that report that's on there gives the 11 reports or 11 most common plugins that everybody should be using. And it's not that you would need all 11 of them too. There may be some of them that you might not need, but that's the most common ones that everybody should use at some point in time. And those are all pretty much updated and safe plugins to use as well. And they pretty much stay with updating them, so you won't have to worry about vulnerabilities with those. The only thing I would add to those is some sort of a backup plugin. You can find some for free over on WordPress.org. It will do backups. Another good plugin you might want to look for is something to clone your blogs. You could do just exactly like what I did, set up a blog, just set up a dummy blog and create a clone of it so that the next time you want to install a blog, you can just use that clone like I do and get a blog that's completely configured, set up in the last 5 to 10 minutes. And there's actually, I bought a plug-in off of JVZoo back during the summer that will actually go through and set a brand new blog that you set up, and it will actually go through and do most of the common settings for you with one click. That's pretty neat. I've used that occasionally. Chris says, Rick, there's a free service that will move your blog for you. I'll send you the details. Manage WP. Okay, I've heard of Manage WP. Okay, guys, I think, that's all the questions I got in the emails. Lewis saying, sorry I got on late. Question, there has been a ton of gossip about here and there spread about Europe's new VAT tax changes. Have you heard anything about this? Yeah, that's been a topic of discussion for the last 2 or 3 calls I've done, actually. In fact, in our last Success with Rick call, it was just about all about the VAT. It actually went into effect on January the 1st, and some people, have quit selling their products over on some of the affiliate marketplaces like Warriors Plus and JVZoo because they don't want to have to deal with it. Some people are using loopholes to try to get around it. Some people are moving back to ClickBank and let ClickBank deal with it, which is pretty much how I'm going to handle it. I'm going to move most of my stuff back to ClickBank and let ClickBank deal with it. But yeah, it's a pretty hot topic right now, Willie. A lot of people are talking about the EU VAT thing, and personally, I don't know if we got any people that live over in the European countries on here or not, but personally, I just don't see how it's right for them to be able to force that on other countries, but they claim that it is, and there's rumor that the IRS is going to work with them to help try to collect it. Like I said, that's a rumor. I haven't heard anything definite on that, but it definitely is something that people need to be worried about. What you're going to do with dealing with it, and like I said, the solution for a lot of people is they're going to quit selling on affiliate networks, that don't collect it for them and deal with it. And then a lot of people are just going to ignore it. I've heard a lot of people say they're just going to ignore it and see if they ever catch up with them. Personally, I don't think that's the right way to deal with it, just to ignore it. But it's something everybody's going to deal with, and we're going to have to wait and see how it all shakes out too. Really, I have a feeling that it's causing so much turmoil that it may fall flat, and they wind up changing it here in the next couple of weeks because it does cause so much. It could wind up hurting their economy. And I'm sure they're doing it to help their economy by collecting more tax, but it could turn around and bite them and hurt them. Dana gave us a won't let me copy and paste that, Dana. If you can send that to me in an email, I'll try to put that on the replay page too as well, Dana. That URL you sent about that free backup to Dropbox, that could be really useful for a lot of people. Patricia says, I don't sell much, but I use ClickMagick to redirect EU countries to sorry page. If I start getting many of those, I'll take other steps. I want to set up a call with you, Rick. Sure, Patricia. That's Roy said that. Patricia, something that John Smiley showed me I didn't know was even available is you might want to go into PayPal, and in PayPal you can see the countries that people come from that made purchases from you, and it'll tell you what percentage of the European, well, any country, not just European, of these people that make purchases from you, and it's pretty interesting when you look at it. I was surprised to find out it's about 20 to 25% of the sales I make come from those European countries. I didn't figure it was that much, but it is. It's quite a bit. Roy says, I want to set up a call with you, Rick, over the VAT. I'm changing my complete business plan because of this. Sure, Roy, just schedule a time. Just log into the SWR site there and just schedule a time. I hope you're right. Well, Patricia, I hope I'm right too. I hate to be wrong and come back to bite me, and I don't want to steer anybody else wrong either. This VAT thing it's so new to everybody. There's really no cut and dry best way to deal with it. I mean, I know what they claim what they want you to do is the best way to deal with it, but I don't know that it is. I have a hard enough time keeping up with the IRS and my PayPal account, and I sure don't want to have to keep up with another country's tax laws. And if you really get to analyze, there's actually 27 different rates that they charge, so it can be really, really confusing too. So that's why at this point I'm looking at it as my best option is to go back to ClickBank and let them deal with it. Okay, there now it's let me copy that. See if I can paste that for you guys. There we go. That's the link that Dana sent to a free backup to Dropbox for your blogs, in case you guys are interested in that. You're always asking, what about Kindle? Do they pay the VAT for our sales, or do we? Kindle is all going through Amazon. Amazon processes your sale, and Amazon actually sent out an email, it's been 2 or 3 days ago, about how they're dealing with the VAT and how they're giving you some options if you want to go in there and change it, but they're going to automatically deal with it and take it away from your, not commission, but percentage of what you would make for making sales over on Amazon. And they had a whole section about if you actually list products over on the Amazon UK site and how they deal with that. But yeah, Amazon is definitely going to deal with it themselves, and it's going to be reflected in the percentage that you get back from them, how they dealt with the VAT. Yeah, just like Patricia says, Kindle's adjusted prices for you for VAT. And they're doing it on their other two, the Fulfillment by Amazon, all the rest of their areas as well. And like I said, they sent out an email. It's not been 2 or 3 days ago if you list products over on the Amazon UK site and how they're dealing with it. So, you know, places like Amazon, you know, they're going to deal with it for you. It's just the products that you create yourself and sell through affiliate marketplaces like JVZoo and Warriors Plus, or if you sell directly through PayPal, wherein you need to worry about it and how you're going to deal with it. Places, you know, like I said, Amazon and ClickBank, they're going to deal with it for you. So you won't have to worry about so much through those areas. Zaxa gives you the option, if you want to, you know, set up a Zaxa vendor account, to where they'll actually deal with it for you, but it's really costly to have them deal with it for you. Or they can just give you the reporting like JVZoo and Warriors Plus does. You know, I don't recommend Zaxa over anybody else, but I'm just saying that they are one of the affiliate marketplaces that are being proactive about doing something about it. Okay, Robert, that's great. Thanks for coming, guy. We're just about done anyway. We're about to wrap this up. Hope to see you on here again next week, Robert. Do IMFO products sell well on Kindle? It depends on the niche topic that it's about, and then the marketing campaign that you run over there. I mean, Kindle has some really good marketing and promotions that you can do, but it really just boils down to the topic that you have, how popular it is, and then of course, you know, there's some tricks in the listing over in the marketplace to help it get found that will help a lot with making Kindle sales. Okay, guys. Well, if that's all your questions, let's go ahead and call it a night. We're right at about an hour and 20 minutes here. I think we did pretty good for this first session, me trying to figure out everything. Next week I'll be a little better at it. Won't have as many hurdles to jump through. And hopefully this thing will do its recording right like it's supposed to, so for the people that could make it to the call tonight, there'll be a recording. But thanks for coming tonight, guys. Inner Circle guys, there'll be a call Wednesday night. You definitely want to be there because there's going to be some announcements, and then we got our first lesson Wednesday night. So good night, everybody, and thanks for coming.